Hello everyone. So welcome to this tutorial. So in this tutorial, we are going to talk about how to use Redis with the Spring caching, right? So Redis is basically it's an in-memory database system where it can store the data. It has a multiple uses. So I'm not going to get into those details. So I'm assuming that if you are here, so that means you already have chosen Redis as your underlying storage thing. In terms of the Spring caching, right? So Spring caching provides an abstraction around the different caching mechanism, and it makes it really easy to change your implementation. All you have to do is to make few changes into the configuration, but your code base will remain same. So if you are still starting out with the Spring caching abstraction, I have added a link into the description. Make sure that you have the basic understanding of the different annotations of the Spring, how Spring caching, right? And how the various things works under the hood with the Spring caching. So that said, let's jump into the details. So just to give you an idea, right? We have already talked about a couple of things here. There is a one prerequisite before we get into the details. So you have to make sure that Redis server is already available for you. Spring Boot or the Spring integrate configuration will not come pre-bundled with the Redis server. It only provides you an integration, but the rest of the things you have to take care. So if you're working on a Mac OS, you just want to do some kind of a POC. I have another video which explain how to install Redis server on your Mac OS. Just follow the tutorial and we are good to go. All right. So the first thing what we are going to do is we are going to create our project structure. I'm going to use the Spring Starter. We'll open the browser, go to the Spring Starter, and then fill out all the details based upon if you are want to use the Maven, or if you want to let's say you want to use the Gradle, right? So I have already filled few of the details just to save some time. In terms of the dependencies, right, I'm going to create a web application. So I will choose a Spring Web as one of the dependency. It entirely based upon what kind of application you are building, but rest of the tutorial will hold same. The interesting thing is as one of the dependency, we need to use Spring Data Redis as one of the dependency, right? So this will basically going to provide us certain auto configurations for us. I'm going to talk about those a little later into this tutorial. Go ahead, generate it, click on the generate, download the project structure and export into your ID. It can be IntelliJ, it can be Eclipse, it doesn't matter, right? For this one, I'm going to use the IntelliJ. All right, so I have created that. I have imported the code in my IntelliJ. I have done few more things just to save some more time. Okay, so let me increase the size to make sure that you have a good visibility. All right, so this is a simple controller. It doesn't matter what is the complications in your service layer, how complicated is your workflow. At the end of it, what is going to happen is we will have a request and we will have a response, and our caching mechanism will work on top of it. So if it finds a data into the caching based upon the ID, the key, it basically get the information from the caching. If it doesn't find, it will let service layer to perform all the complex functionalities. We'll get the data, save a copy of that data into the cache, so that the next time if you request something, it will serve you from the cache. Okay, so my controller is a simple controller. I am passing a customer ID, and in my service layer, let's open our service layer. Okay, let me increase the size of service layer as well. So my service layer is nothing different, right? So what I'm doing is I'm passing this ID, and then I'm just making some dummy data and returning it back. Okay, and just to see some additional things, I'm adding this log to see when the call gets into the service layer, I have some logs, right? All right, and this is, I have annotated this as a service thing. Okay, and my customer object is just a bean. So you have to make sure that you always you implement the serializable. So whatever you want to store into your cache, underlying cache, it has to be serializable. If you don't do that, during the save operation, the system are going to throw an exception. So make sure that your object, whatever object you are saving into the underlying caching, you are implementing the serializable interface. All right. So that said, let's start enabling the integration and the Redis integration with this application. Okay. So first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable I'm going to use this annotation which says enable caching. So what it is going to do is the moment you have a enable caching in your system, Spring Boot will automatically scan your class path and will try to find out what kind of a caching you are trying to use. For example, if you're using a EH cache or you are using a caffeine cache, in our case, we are going to use a Redis cache. And how it basically identify is based upon these dependency, right? So we have defined the started data Redis dependency. So that means Spring will identify that, okay, you want to use a Redis as your underlying caching mechanism, right? So what it is ultimately going to do is Spring Boot is intelligent enough, and that is one of the, I think the major benefit of using a Spring Boot. So it automatically going to auto configure few things for you, including few of the defaults in order to connect with the with your Redis server. So you don't have to define all the clients, you don't have to define all the code, right? All those boilerplate will be taken care automatically by Spring Boot. All you have to do is to add a few additional configurations into your application.property file, or if you want a better control, probably you want to override your caching manager. But I will be talking about the caching manager maybe in the next tutorial. All right, so that's the first thing what we have done. The second thing is I'm going to enable going to add few annotations, and those are not a Redis specific annotation. Those are a generic annotations as part of the Spring caching abstraction, right? It doesn't matter what is your underlying caching system, these annotations will hold true. So let's say in future you want to change your implementation. Right now you are using a Redis, you want to move away from Redis to, let's say, EH cache. You don't have to change anything into those annotations. You will only need to you are only required to change your configurations. Okay, so I have added two annotations here. So first one says that what will be the my cache name. So this is a logical separation within your underlying caching system, right? For example, I want to save all of the customer related information with the cache name as a customers. Okay, so everything will be logically mapped to this section, right? So that's a kind of your class level configuration. Now the second configuration, what you're going to add is onto the individual methods, and that all depends upon what all methods you want to have the caching in place. For example, let's say your default customer class have a 10 method, but you only want to have the caching for 4 methods, right? So you will be adding this annotation to only those 4 methods, and each annotation will have a key. This is not required, this is an optional, but if you keep it as an optional, then Spring automatically choose a key for you based upon the default. Okay, so what I'm doing is, since every customer is uniquely identified by an ID, so what I'm using a Spring expression language, and I'm saying that, hey, use this ID as your key. So let's say if I'm saying give me data for customer ID 1, so that will be work as a key into the underlying caching system, and give me the data for customer ID 2, that will be the another key, right? So that's, and you can add more complex scenarios. This is a Spring EL expression language. You can go as complex as you want, right? So I'm not going to cover that one. I have another tutorial. I think I highly recommend you, if you are not clear about this key, you should go through that tutorial. So with this, we are almost done with our in terms of our code changes, right? We don't need any specific things into the related to the Redis. The last part for us is to pass on or to define certain information related to the Redis server, so that when the Spring Boot is creating a doing an auto configuration for us, it should have that information, which includes what is the IP or the host of the Redis server. If it's on a local machine, it might be a local host. If it's a remote server, probably it might be an IP or it might be a DNS. What is the port number where it is running, and there are a few other configurations. Okay, so I'm going to give you overview on those one. These are the configurations. So the first one says what is the host. As I said, right, it depends upon where your Redis server is running, which port it is running. You can define, this is an optional, which says for how long you want cache should be kind of a live. If you don't do that, there will be the default that will be used by the Spring Boot. Okay, that are the different cache names, and you can define as many as different caching names, right? For example, I can say customer, I can say order, something for order, something for product, right? It's a comma separated list, so you can define those one. And this is the prefix. This is again an optional, but I think this is really that's interesting. And the reason for that one is, let's say you are using the Redis servers to host a different cachings, right? And you might be you are running 10 different applications, and every application is using the same Redis server to store their caching, right? And you don't want to basically mix up the things, and you want to, when you are running some queries again to Redis servers to see how good the caching is working and all those things, you have a way to identify, even you have a way to query the data, right? So the way it works is, it will add this as a prefix to every cache that is being stored for these apps. So ultimately it will be stored something like JDJ, and then customer, name of the what kind of a cache, customer or order or something like that, into the Redis server. Don't worry, I'm going to give you an overview onto the Redis. Okay, the last thing is on many tutorials, I saw a few tutorials online which says add the Spring cache type, which says Redis Caffeine. You don't need to do that. Spring Boot is intelligent enough. Based upon your dependencies, it will automatically identify what is the cache type, right? And it will automatically set that for you. So you don't have to do that. All right, so with that we are almost done. Okay, and as I said, these are the only configuration probably you want to change anything related to Redis. Let's say in the future you want to move from one configuration to one caching mechanism to another caching mechanism. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start this application. At the same time, I'm going to start the our Redis server. Okay, so I'm starting my Redis server. Okay, so it was already started. In order to make sure that okay, it's up and running, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a CLI command, which it's a standard command. Okay, so if you say ping it, you will get a response saying pong. So that means my Redis server is up and running. Okay, so let's start an application, and then we will what we are going to do is I will keep on scanning this one, and at the same time we will run few tests. So my application started, and what I'm going to do is, let's do one thing. Okay, at the same time what I have done is, I'm using this command, right? Redis CLI monitor. So what is going to happen is, if there is any activity going on in my Redis server, right, it's going to give you that information. Okay, so let's see one. Okay, taking some time. I got the information. Now surprisingly, if you see, getting the customer ID for one. So I have added this log here, right? So if there is no cache, it's going to get into the our method, right? And here is the monitoring log. So what happened is there was a call from the Spring Boot which says give me the information for this ID. That's the prefix what I was talking about, and that's the key. And since it didn't find that one, what happened is our method got called, there was a response, so it basically set means it's setting into the cache, right? Now to give you an idea, I'm going to request for one again. So there is, you see, it only have a get, because this time there was some information in the cache, so it basically served that one. And if you look into the method, there is no call on that one, right? Let's try to do it for 2. Again, there is a call, sorry, there is a call, right, for 2. Let's check our monitor. Again, get, since there was nothing for this key, so it's basically set that information into the cache, right? And if you again say 1, you have a get, because there was the data with that key into the cache. Okay, so that's all you need in order to integrate, in order to use Redis as your underlying caching mechanism with your Spring Boot application. You can have if you want maybe a more flexibility, or maybe you want to have a more control into how the entire setup is done, you can always go ahead and customize the cache manager, and you can always provide your own Redis cache manager to that one with all your custom configuration, right? I'm not going to get into detail in this tutorial, but definitely in the next one I'm going to give you an overview. Let's say you don't want to control everything with these properties, but you want to have a you want to override certain things into your caching mechanism. So how you can do that, right? So I will cover that in the next one. I hope that will give you an idea how you can integrate, how easily and how quickly you can integrate Redis with your Spring Boot and Spring caching. If you like this tutorial, please share and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this one.